evening, everyone. Welcome back to Kleiner's Kravenarium. I'm Raz, and I'm joined by my team here tonight, minus Yesenia, so she'll be back next week. Don't miss that show. And then we're going to find out what happens with her in her solo adventure coming up in next week. We're excited to run that one. So, in the meantime, we are at the house of and the studio of Millicent Shaw and her friend Rudolph. Rudy, as she calls him, and they are getting some. They had a great idea on getting a circus poster done for Adelaide, as a way of getting in and talking more about someone who has been to Pruny Penshaw's perfected pot, where this particular tea called the Dream State has been sold to several people around, they believe, but including Jenny Rainwright possibly. But Millicent is telling them that she has not been allowed to have the tea. The brewmaster came in and denied her the pot of tea, said no, she wouldn't make it for her. So we don't know why, but that's where we're at, and we're trying to learn that information. So welcome back, team. How's everybody tonight?
I'm doing good.
Awesome.
Awesome. So it's been a whole week, people, and she still has not come home. Poor Chris. Still in the same shirt.
Same
Oh,
shirt and
no,
everything.
Chris.
Hungry, hasn't eaten.
Haven't eaten a thing.
Yeah, that's just terrible.
Yeah, had to
Toast
eat the
oven
dog.
is just not
It was
functioning.
awful.
That was nice, Chris. That was real nice.
Yeah. So Mercy, you can hear us though, correct?
Yeah.
Doing
I
that
think I'm
freeze
locked
thing
up, but I
again.
can hear you.
As long as you can hear us, you do get these moments where I don't know why that happens in between episodes, because it always seems like it's on the second episode. So maybe what we're going to do is we're going to do a restart on that PC from now on going forward. Before
It's a good idea.
Yeah, we'll try it.
She looks very pensive.
She does look pensive in that shot. Like her, actually,
Yeah.
she looks like Mercy, probably a lot more like Mercy than she
Yes.
means to. Because
I just hope that in other episodes, if I've locked up, it's not a horrible face I'm making.
right,
Hmm.
right, that would kind of, I don't know, that kind of
Yeah.
funny in a weird way. All right, so we're back to this, and as long as Mercy can hear us, we're good for now. So,
I can hear everything.
excellent. All right, so team, we're with Millicent. She's the tea is ready, by the way. Rudy says 3:15, and he starts pouring. There's lemon wedges, there's sugar cubes, the whole bit. So he lets everybody prep their own tea, and Millicent is just very busy sketching, just drawing real quick.
Am I posing for her?
She's already kind of done on like a profile and then a straight
Okay.
shot, so she's got that. So yeah, you can drink your tea.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just because I'm a cautious man. Does this smell like tea? Okay. So it smells like legit English tea. I'm sure I've had plenty of cups, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Doesn't have
Oh,
a
so
weird
you're
color
thinking
or
is a
anything?
dream state, and they're trying to get
Yeah.
yeah. Good.
Ooh.
Listen, that's pretty nasty. No, it is regular tea.
Okay. Let's check.
Is there a way for Cyrus to look closely at the picture of Oscar?
Yeah, I mean, you can go over and admire it. Sure, it's probably
Because because if the look on his face was very aghast, afraid, correct? Almost
more like attack,
Mark attack.
like he was trying to defend himself.
Yeah, might have a theory on that.
Okay. She painted this. She did say she painted it several weeks ago.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Hmm.
Several
Wondering
weeks.
Well, that's a
somehow-
long silence for.
Well, I was somehow wondering if things were not as they seem, and Oscar was in the painting.
Oh no. So you're not even sure it's Oscar. It's just a rat that looks like he's in an attack position.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even think that Adelaide, if she looked at like Oscar, maybe has like a slight droop on one eye. I don't know. Whatever distinguishes one rat from another. Like if you look, you can't say all rats look like that's just ratist. I don't want to be a
Yeah,
ratist. Yeah.
No.
Right.
At some point, Oscar had a stroke, so he has like a droop on one side.
Yeah, Oscar
Right.
is beautifully unique.
Yeah. Oscar's very, very, yeah.
Yeah.
And this rat does not appear like if it's Oscar, it's not a great Oscar, but it's definitely a good rat. Like it's a pretty good looking rat. Looks realistic.
Got it.
And it's going to go in my trailer, and it's going to be great.
Amazing.
So she's going to ask, Miss Shaw, where do you get your inspiration from?
Well, I'll just tell them. Fine. There's many times that Rudy and I like to walk about. And much to the chagrin of some of my friends and my family, we tend to take in some of the lower areas of the city. if you understand my drift. And I draw both the inspiration of what I see, plus the opposite of it, which would be sort of what you saw in the hall. Sometimes in a catacomb, we wish that we were in a field. When we are in a church, we could wish that we were in a cabaret, a club with music and frivolity. You don't have to look at dark to just paint dark. Sometimes you look at dark and think of light. Um, so walking the streets and being in unfamiliar environs tends to make me sometimes pensive and paint the opposite, and sometimes I paint exactly what I feel and see.
I was very curious about your hallway. It was very, I think, beautiful, but also morbid in a way, and it was just interesting sensation to go through that.
Oh well, thank you. Yes, it's it's a piece that I did a while ago. The it's I sort of started painting it. I was painting the life side, and then after, well, my mother passed, and it just felt like the right thing to do.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that.
It was her time. I think that, to have stayed the way she was, she wouldn't have wanted that.
Oh, did she fall ill?
Uh, Her mind started to go, and then she was unable to really take care of herself, and we sought a place to house her for a while because her fits were very, very violent, and then she passed. And Rudy comes over and kind of puts his hand on his shoulder and consoles her a little bit, and she taps it and smiles at him, like you can tell there's a true friendship there.
Okay.
I found it very inspiring. I had read books a while ago about the land of Egypt and the pharaohs of whence, and they talked of how one side of the Nile was life and the other side was death, and the transition between the two. And the blue flora did lean me to see it such.
Oh, well, you're not wrong, sir. Thank you very much, Mister. You were the ringmaster. There, I'm sorry, I didn't catch.
Yes,
your name.
Boone, madam, and he tips his hat. Boone, Cyrus Boone.
Oh, interesting pallor. She kind of like says it's almost like casually, not like she wasn't thinking. She was thinking aloud, but she says, yes, the two sides, very much so. I could see how you would draw that a similarity between the two. Very, very insightful. I painted another piece, not to, and she gets up and she walks over and she starts flipping through and she says, I don't know if this is gonna, but when you say the Nile and then you, like you seeing, what do you make of this? And it's a trunk. It's a painting of a trunk. But
like
all
like
around
tree
it.
or
No, like a trunk that you would put things in.
oh.
And it's all this swirling reds and blacks all around it, like emanating around the trunk.
When did you paint this?
Rudy, when was this? April. March? I don't know. A few months ago.
Does that
Would you-
coincide? Does that coincide
It's
on our
about
calendar?
2 weeks before Sophie went missing.
Madam, would you care for me to tell you what I really think, or would you like me to be acting polite society?
I'm not sure how to take that.
I believe you have the second sight, madam. I believe you see things that come to be.
So this means something to you.
It absolutely does, as does the rat. And I perchance would think that if I were to gaze at all of your paintings, I may see things, and all of us may see things that are somewhat familiar to us. But based off of your timeline, it sounds as if you are painting things that had not yet happened and happened after, which leads me to believe you are like the wise women of the South. You see things. You perhaps see the future in ways you do not realize, and its emanations come forth on your canvas.
What do you think of that, Rudy? I've always told you There was something there. I mean, a trunk with swirls. What does it mean to me? But it meant something to someone. You've only shown it to about 8 people. Well, that's true. But she's like, so, she comes to the studio and certain ones she's like, does this mean something to you? Like, is it? And so she finally found somebody that means something to. Everybody else is kind of like, that's kind of weird. Because it's just like an old footman's trunk or like.
But it's representative.
It's close.
It's her interpretation.
Right.
So she's getting, she's either having dreams or something, or in her subconscious, and that's what's like spurring her on. She doesn't realize what she's doing. She's almost like an empath of sorts.
Yeah.
What have you recently painted? Anything out of the ordinary, or anything you don't understand?
Well, come to think of it, there was. It's not quite done. I don't like showing my things before they're done.
If you don't mind,
I
we won't judge it. Certainly better than anything I could do.
Well, and I can't shoot a gun, Mr. Broom, but you're a sharpshooter, and I'm an artist. I would, unless you're a sharpshooting artist, and then that would be very fascinating. Are you a sharpshooting artist?
Perhaps, in a manner of speaking.
Okay. You see what appears to be an old crone. So she takes it out. It's half done. It's a gallows. And in the gallows, the old crone is hanging by its neck. But its one arm is up, hanging from the gallows, and its other arm is up and hanging from the gallows. And it's all twisted. And it's like the bottom is still sketched. And it's a dark night, and it's just this illuminated by the full moon that's sort of covered by shadow. But the old crone itself is hung by the neck, but also it's got different wrappings, rope around its 2 wrists, and the wrists are up as well.
Like a puppet.
Oh.
Hey, that doesn't look like one of Yesenia's puppets, does it?
Miss Baba.
It could, yeah. It could be. She's like, but I'm not done. So please, it's not finished.
Cyrus sort of leans over his shoulder in his hand and just says towards Steiner, couldn't that be Miss Baba?
I've spent the most time with Yesenia leading up to our time in the circus. We came together, and so I would know what Miss Baba looks like.
Yep. You would say like the trunk. It's not far off.
Right. Yeah. It's an artist's interpretation. Do we know what the phase of the moon is right now?
It's on its way up.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're probably a couple days away from a full moon.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a gallows she's hanging from, or is the rope
a true hangman's gallows?
A true gallows, so not a tree per se. Like I was curious if it was a tree. That would be very interesting.
It's a gallows. Again, things are representative.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
And as you look deeper at it, off in the distance, like you can kind of make out in the shadows what you think looks like a decrepit old horse. As you really stare at it, you're like, "Oh man, is that like? Is that Max?" Like you're kind of you're picking up like a little weird elements, Nietzsche things about it.
Mm-hmm.
On the side of the building, off in the background, there's a poster that's not filled in. Like just a parchment that's been nailed up. So it's like all these things that are coming together in this paint, and she's still painting. Like she's still working on it. It's one of the canvases that she stopped working on. It's just hanging on the easel.
Yeah.
Whence comes your inspirations? Where do you gather the ideas for these canvases?
Rudy starts to blush.
They come from you.
No, they come. There's a young one in the room.
Okay.
He puts his hands on either side of Adelaide's ears, completely ignoring Mercy, knowing that
Mercy's 200 years old.
she's not what she. Well, I don't know she's 200. I just know she's not what she says she is.
Right.
I go, you may speak freely.
So she says, we have gentlemen callers, and a lot of times they can inspire with their chat and conversation.
How very interesting.
So what gentleman prompted this?
What did you say?
Hmm?
So what did you say?
So what gentleman prompted this? And I point to the painting.
She just
But you
I-
can't see the painting, can you?
No,
she-
She points to the wall.
I'm just
Who-
confused. What in orgiastic bliss? You get painting inspiration.
It's kind of what she's implying.
What she's implying is
Devil woman, let's get out of here. This is unseemly.
Yeah, I could totally see Mercy going, "We must go now."
yeah,
This is too far.
this is putting a burr in my bonnet.
Wait,
The devil sets her table.
it's like- Mercy's like that moment in the Ref, sex and drugs and women being set on fire and
Sit down. That's what- I have had enough. We are leaving.
Who are you? Slipper socks, medium.
Medium. So yes, she's basically saying that not I mean you know the inspiration is also when she walks, but it seems like she put when she can have these moments of out of body, these times when she's in a hedonistic or state, she draws she's an artist.
which is why you don't give this woman who has out of body experiences and visions and wackadoo shit. She's already on ketamine. You don't give her
Yeah.
more.
You don't soup her up.
Yeah. I believe we have stumbled upon the reason you were denied the tea, and it is most likely for your betterment, as you clearly have second sight. Here again, your unfinished
Who knows what
painting
you paint
speaks
on
to
it?
all of us.
Right. That's a big one. Who knows what you would paint on it?
The end of days.
Her own death. That would be interesting.
Yeah. All right. So that's the information
Yep.
you're getting from Millicent. If there's any other questions, feel free we can work them in. But you are very accurate on the idea that whoever's handing out this tea, if they were aware or felt that they knew that she had the sight,
So
you could literally blow her brain. It would just take her
so
mind
this
to a place.
person,
This
wait a minute. Let's think about this for a second.
Okay.
And
Right.
this could be just player to player or a character sidebar, but this woman, this brewer, has a conscience. But then is the tea killing people? Is the brewer the problem? Is the tea the problem?
It may not be that the brewer has a conscience so much as they have a plan.
Okay.
Let's not
Yeah.
confuse the two, because it's obvious that whoever's.
Oh, I don't
taking
think the
this
brewer's innocent at all. I think
Yeah.
the brewer is.
Yeah.
I think the brewer and the person that has a tea shop is using these things to exact some sort of revenge.
I don't know about the tea shop, but yeah, definitely the brewer.
She wouldn't sell it to us.
Yeah, that's true. That is
Hmm.
true.
But that was well,
Well,
not
she
us.
wouldn't remember, she wouldn't sell it because she didn't have any.
Well,
It's
she said
only
she
by
didn't.
appointment.
She said she didn't have any. So the question is, you know what I mean, it doesn't matter how she said it. The point that it was unavailable for them.
Right.
Unavailable
went
for
there.
them.
So
Right.
it just leads me, if you want to be nefarious, they're being choosy about who gets the tea and why.
Okay.
Okay.
But Millicent Shaw, who is a hedonist, who is a fringe society person, who has some money. I mean, she can live in this apartment.
Sure, but she was denied the tea.
She was denied the tea, and if
That,
it's
right, that just plays into it. That they're
Okay.
people. They know that the people that get the tea, bad things will happen.
I see where you're coming from. So, okay, excellent.
Correct.
That's a good idea. That may work. Sure, you could be onto something there.
Millicent said that the tea woman was lovely to her. There was something about her.
Well, John Wayne
And so
Casey was quiet.
maybe
and
it's
kept
something
himself.
as simple as, oh, if I give you this tea, bad shit's gonna happen. You were super nice. You called me hot. Maybe I don't give you the tea.
Right? Maybe you invited me up with one of your gentlemen callers. I don't know, but yes, Millicent tends to be the focal point of a lot of men's attentions at times. She likes
Okay.
to, and there's
Well,
nothing wrong.
Millicent,
I mean,
live it up.
Millicent is living hot and hard in 1865.
Wow. It's a sentence I never thought I'd ever hear.
Hot and hard.
Yeah. No, in 18.
Yeah.
Oh, Victorians they were.
They were a randy
nuts.
group of people. They were wacky.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
truly demented. Yeah.
yeah. All right.
Well-
so who next? Are we done with Millicent?
I
I think for now, perhaps maybe I could get on the list and get more information later at night, but we'll find out.
On the
Steiner,
list.
would you also like to get yourself on a list and we could see what happens on the other side of that spectrum?
No, you have things to do later.
I'm
No, dear
a
child,
modern
it's
man.
strictly for investigative reasons. I
Right.
have read articles and exposés. I myself do not imbibe, but
I'm not only a cautious man, but a modest man. I'm going to have to decline. So
Good.
I don't want to have to do an all-night spiritual over the two of you.
right.
I'm going to break out tambourines and shit. Yeah, Puritans were big on tambourines. Didn't know that. Look it up if you didn't know that. Big on tambourines. Okay, so moving forward.
Really?
No, they weren't. I just wanted to make people
that's good. Look it up, tambourines.
because in Cthulhu and Cairo we were
Tambourines.
careful with all of our a lot of our facts. Like 99% of the stuff we had checked like double times. But if I put out there tambourines and Puritans, people are like,
Oh God, yeah, somebody will
Tambourines.
post.
That's,
They were not.
they were not
I
very
want someone to
That is
design a
100
T-shirt
that's
of a Puritan girl
With
like
a tambourine.
kicking
dancing
it with a
on
tambourine.
tambourine.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of the temperance movement. Yeah, you're
Yeah, that's probably a
envisioning
little
the temperance movement, the American temperance movement. Yeah.
I just think it'd be funny.
And have Black Phillip in it. So where are we going next?
Well, actually, let's make sure we finish up the circle here.
Sure.
Will we be able to get something for Adelaide's show
yes.
from the painter? For
Yes.
Rough
So
Note?
she said she's gonna work. She'll work on it. Give her 2 or 3 days. It's it's a commission, but
Great.
she will definitely she'll have it ready for you.
I
And,
take her hand gingerly and I say, Madam, as the manager of the circus, I myself will come here personally to pick up the poster if you were to just have someone let me know when it is finished.
Of course. Thank you, Thyrith. She makes a sound like that. Thyrith.
How
She
very
She hisses at you.
how
And then she
very-
comes out. She looks at you and goes, "I'm sorry. I'm Cyrus. I'm sorry, Mr. Boone. My apologies."
no offense taken.
Rudy, would you show our guests out? And Miss Adelaide, just give me a few days, and I will have this ready for you.
Oh, of course. Take your time.
Oh, thank you. I hope to all see you. I hope to see you all again.
hmm
It's been
Okay.
lovely.
It's been lovely. Mercy goes to the faucet, just starts throwing water and prayers. Just heathens, sinner.
Hissed at you?
I was half tempted to say, I will see you soon.
That's exactly what she did.
Yeah.
As she
Yeah.
snake sounded at him when he touched her.
Parcel tongue. That was parcel tongue.
Kind of
don't
like
like
that.
it.
Yeah, she got a very strong whoa.
If she tries to go and give everybody like a
She's not trying to
handshake
get near
and-
you.
No. She's
Believe me, she's semi-empathic. The vibe she's getting from you is that you need to be dragged
Okay.
out and stoned. Like, yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Wow.
Um.
You
I
know
think
what?
she's more
Not
physically
you,
psychic.
her.
yeah.
she thinks you need to stone her. Like you're gonna
No,
stand over her. Yeah,
I understand.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say if there's any engagement, it's no. Like I don't want to
right.
don't come near me, you
So
Jezebel.
great. Keep the old crone away from me. What?
Yeah.
No, okay. Until the puppet moment, the way that the painting was being described, I'm like, is that a gallows hanging tree witch vibe? What? I don't like that.
Do you have a painting of some woman being pressed by stones? Just out of curiosity. I'm just,
With
throwing it
Mercy,
out there.
Mercy jumping on the table.
Yeah.
Is it heavier now?
He's an old-fashioned pressing in is there a dunking chair, perhaps?
Don't throw on another stone, Papa. Mercy runs up the top and teeters. I got it.
Yeah, I got it. I'll use this big flat one.
All right, so where are we going next?
Let's see. We have other
Rupert's-
people.
I was going to say Rupert's
Visit-
really
Yeah,
funny.
he's the other heavy
Yeah,
artist,
Rupert Cox is the sculptor.
and he doesn't live far.
Oh.
He has a much smaller place.
Come on, Roops.
Yeah, Roops. So yeah, if you ask her even, or you ask around, you can find his home, no problem. He is not Millicent. Like he has a much different demeanor. He is a true, let's just say it, more like you would anticipate like a Michelangelo or like a classical trained artist.
He's
who-
academic.
He's a more academic, right?
Yeah.
learned his craft. It's in the stone. I just bring it out. Like it's much more of a science to him and a study of art than it is her who just goes, today I'm going to paint a toad, and then runs and does a toad. So very different vibe. But he meets you at the door. He doesn't have anybody who opens the door for him. He doesn't have groupies. He's like, hello, can I help you?
We don't have a cover story.
We didn't come up with a plan of
Yeah, we
attack.
didn't come
I'm sorry, we don't have a cover
Hey.
story.
Hey.
I'll shut the door until you do. Thank you.
Wait.
Normally we think about this, but we just sort of rushed over here.
Yeah,
Oh,
my bad.
man, What the hell?
I gently shuffle Mercy towards the door. Go on, Mercy dear. Tell the gentleman why we're here.
So Mercy, go ahead and give me a roll. Give me a roll on. You
Hey,
can do it under. You can do it under learning.
Out of all of us, she would probably be the first person to come up with something to come out of her mouth.
Yep. Because I have an idea that I thought of, but we'll see if Mercy's okay with it if she makes a decent roll.
Yeah, Cyrus is not a fast talker.
Any sixes? 3. You could run with the story that you had earlier that you need a headstone. You need something special carved for a beloved person, and maybe that's not your normal
I
thing.
have my funeral plans.
Right. You have your funeral plans.
How very Victorian.
I'm 14. Can you sculpt this in case I die?
I just feel bad for Cyrus because he just paid off a debt and now we're getting more debt.
Oh,
I
don't
don't
worry,
think-
dear child. I won't pay for that. That's not
Okay,
happening.
very fair.
Posters
come
are
out of
not
her
part
own
of our
personal-
per diem,
But I do want my poster.
Her own personal. Your poster I shall pay for, yes.
but the sculpted headstone, this is horse shit. I'm not
Yes.
paying for this.
Yes, not to worry. And the cost of your poster will come out of your initial
course.
compensation. I'm not concerned.
That's why I haven't updated my poster in many moons.
Yeah.
So many moons.
Okay, so you're there, and he says, "Can I help you?"
So Cyrus shoves Mercy forward, and she's like, "Oh, little stumble."
He's kind of like, "That's a blind kid. What are you shoving a blind kid for?"
Forgive me, Mr. Cox, but my father and friends brought me here today to ask a rather odd question of you, but I'm hoping that because you're such an esteemed artist, you'll have an appreciation and a bit of sympathy for the odd. You see, I've come to discuss a potential commission with you for a sculpture, something very important to me.
I see. Young lady, you're very well
Miss
spoken, by
Mercy.
the way.
Thank you. My name is Miss Mercy Clark, by the way, and this is my good friend Adelaide, my guardian Cyrus Boone, and Steiner Broom. We're from the circus. I'm not
Your
sure
guardian.
if you were in the
Which
audience.
one's your father? I'm sorry. You said your father and friends were here.
Father, guardian. He's Cyrus looks after me.
We have been in each other's acquaintance for so very long. I am like a father to the girl. She is
Yes.
wonderful.
I excellent. Would you please come in if it's for business? I please don't stand out in the street. I apologize. I'm
thank
being
you,
very
thank you.
rude. Please.
Very, very, very kind.
His studio is so it's a smaller flat. It's probably half of what she had. Instead of there being like 3 or 4 rooms, it's just got the one front room and then a small kitchen and a dinette and then a staircase. Again, it's a brownstone-ish type building in the city, so still a decent area, but probably pays a shit ton less than she even has to. But in his main part of the studio, you see a mattress. Like he sleeps down here, and he's working on one thing. Like there's other small sculptures around. There's things that he's done. There's sketches, but they're all very, very properly hung, like around. Like he knows what he's trying to do, but he may sleep down here some nights just because he's working late or whatever. But he's working in marble. And it's a much more expensive medium, right? Can't mess around with it. But he's just doing. You can see that he's a sculptor. He takes it differently, and but he says, "Please come in. If you'd like to sit, we can go through to my dining room. It's small, but it is comfortable."
Perfect. Sounds lovely.
Do you need a refreshment? Is anyone thirsty? I'm sorry. I could put on some tea or.
Oh, no.
Some tea would be lovely, and you know, if you happen to
Here we
have-
go. And if you have a scone, something.
Mercy
wanna
has
be-
a sweet tooth. She's
I know.
never gonna say no to like candy, and like it's the one thing that she's retained from being a kid.
Yeah. So in a couple minutes, he brings out ill properly brewed tea. It's not bad. It's just
Ah,
regular-
the swill.
right, the swill tea and some biscuits, and he sits everybody down. So he's like, okay, so how can I and again, Miss Clark, for all these adults traveling with you, you are the one here for the commission?
Oh yes. You see, I have it here. She pulls from her interior coat an envelope that looks hella beaten up. Like it's a really thick parchment envelope, but it's just beat to shit. It's all yellow. There's a coffee stain on it. But she opens it up and takes out a sheaf of paper. It's like 5 or 6 pages thick. Just again, really old parchment. And
Is it papyrus? Jesus
no,
Christ.
it's just an older parchment.
Okay.
And like shoves it like across the table to him. You see, she doesn't say anything, but she shows him plans for her own monument.
I see. This is you're a rather young woman. I don't mean to pry, but are you ill? Are you okay, miss? I most 14-year-old girls are not so thinking of the day where they will need to be interred. Just a
Ew.
Well, I did lose my family very suddenly, and there was no time to think. There was no time to prepare, and you know, with my affliction and
blindness. Is that deadly?
there are other.
You don't know what I got. You don't know me.
You don't know me. But you know, she kind of plays it like, oh, I'm so sickly, oh, I'm so innocent, oh my god, like just pity
Right.
me.
In the meantime,
like-
in the meantime, my affliction, blindness. Yeah.
So there are other factors, and you know, having to plan the funeral of my dear brother and sister and my parents, and being woefully unprepared. We didn't have any coin.
There,
the time.
child. He did not mean
when
to
you say
upset
you
so.
didn't have any coin, he's like, well, Miss Clark, I'm sorry, I'm not really sure that there's
No,
anything I can do.
now I do. It's why I have the plan.
Oh, we had no coin to bury them. Then you ain't got money. I'm sorry. My shit's expensive. Like I'm high end. But okay. So no, he listens and he looks at this sculptor. And why don't you describe for me what you want on the monument? Is it just a flat stone? Or are you looking like something like that looks like you and angelic? Are you looking for like what kind of topper were you looking for your grave?
So her vision is like an above ground, like they would do in New Orleans.
Oh,
She
mausoleum.
has had a
Mausoleum.
touch for the dramatic now that she's been a performer for 100-something years.
Right.
So like an above ground sarcophagus vibe, with, you know, like,
It's a lot of money.
like her name, her date, and like engraved
Yeah.
into the top.
But like
and-
her, like an effigy, like her laid out on top of it with her image.
Yes.
Dear
Sure.
God.
Yeah, let's be that dramatic about it. But the most important thing, and the one that she keeps pointing out to him, because like, first of all, like, I don't know what I look like. Just carve a lady. You know, I'm not gonna know. But it's very important that there are 20 roses. Like, really, I want them intricate 20 roses around her. Not like under so she's laying on them, but like somewhere on the monument, there needs to be carved 20 beautiful roses for the people that died in Salem.
Which
All the
people
people
that
that were
died?
killed.
Which people that died in Salem?
She doesn't say why, but I'm saying it for color and character
Right.
building. But
Okay.
she doesn't say why. I want 20 roses.
He's like, I see. Very well. there's, I mean, I could price something up for you. I'm sure we could come to an arrangement. You don't. It's not something that you need immediately. Yes, like
I could need it tomorrow. You just don't know these things.
if that happens, I can push other work aside for you. I just, but I'm saying in the Vim health that you appear right now, God willing,
God willing.
I would hope that you and your associates would understand that sculpting does take a little bit more time. It's
No, of course, and this is, as you can see, there's been drafts and different renditions, and
I
you know,
do
I
see.
I apologize if the sketches are poor. I obviously couldn't do this myself, and I had to dictate to someone. Is my vision clear?
Your vision is not clear, but what I
Is
see
what
on.
I wanted to portray on the paper.
Oh, I'm sorry.
here.
Yes, I thought you meant your vision.
Her
No.
ethereal vision, I believe she's referring to.
I found it fascinating that you knew the right sketch to give me, but that's very interesting. I guess they're in an order for you, which is very interesting. But yes, I could do this. It's without a problem. Let me just find out how much stone I would need. Obviously, I'm assuming. I mean, you could be a little taller. Hopefully, by the time this all occurs, I will make proper.
I don't think so. Very short family. We're all very short.
So you're full grown.
I think.
This has been most fascinating. I really can't. I don't know how you got my
I'm
name,
14. Like when I was 14, I was full height.
Okay.
Like I'm just saying, like that to me.
I
That's
guess
not
for
weird.
girls that is possibly true.
Yeah, isn't it? I think somewhere between like 10 and 13, don't they sort of?
No, they can still grow a little bit, but it's not like boys where they sprout at 15 and 16, I guess. All right, so he this whole conversation is just blowing his mind, but he's like, okay, very well.
Okay, and now that we've
Put him at ease.
completely
Is
disoriented.
that what you think you've done? You put him at ease? Okay,
No,
good.
now that we've disoriented him.
Yeah. Oh, he's disoriented.
Okay, all right. Now that we've disoriented him,
I'm a little disoriented. Just,
why are you disoriented,
no, no.
Kleiner?
It's the tea.
Yeah.
Okay. Now to segue. Oh God, how to segue from this?
We're live.
Anybody got ideas?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was really
Okay.
struggling with a sculptor. I just
Okay.
hey, so let's talk about rocks.
I guess we'll do it the same. I guess we can do it the same way that we did at Millicent's. So, actually, but what's his name? Rupert. So Mr. Cox. Actually, I had another question. This is more of a not a business matter. Sorry, I'm reading the group chat. Thank you, Cyrus. So we were thinking, once we depart your lovely studio, we were thinking of going to catch a spot of tea at Pruny Pinshaw's Perfected Pot. It was recommended to us by a friend of yours. Have you patroned the place?
He's looked up from the sketch. Pruny's? Yes, I've been there. Yes.
Oh, what do you recommend?
The tea.
Oh,
The little cucumber sandwiches are very nice.
no, I'll make sure to order those.
How do you get along with its proprietor? Are you on great terms of one business owner to another in this town? I imagine there is a small, tight community.
Pruny's fine. Her clientele tends to be more towards the feminine, but I enjoy a cup of tea as much as the next person. Overall, I think she does remarkably well. Especially if you're fond of cats, that tends to be a draw.
I love cats.
I have not personally been.
But very dear friends of mine, Jenny Wainwright, and there's another artist that I frequent there with occasionally. We'll go once a week or so, and we'll split a pot, catch up on the town gossip, have a day out, sort of thing. It's nice to travel together,
That
take a
sounds
break from
lovely.
work. Yes, but I myself I stick with basics. They tend to be more frivolous in their choices and orders. I usually have to procure my own pot.
Oh, I've heard that there's a type of tea there. It's called like dream something. Uh, I'm assuming that's what you mean by that's a more fanciful order. I'm interested in it myself.
It seems you have cash to burn, young miss. Yes,
Well, you see, everyone died, and I inherited quite a bit of money.
from people that didn't have money to bury themselves. But that's okay. We're not even going to point that out.
Shit.
He's a little bit more educated. He's a little bit more
Yeah.
a little more savvy. So but that's okay.
Poor child cannot see how fast money flies away.
No more sighted jokes.
Oh my
So
God.
he says it's
I can't pull a fast one on this man.
no. This one he's a little
No.
tougher because again he's a little older, a little bit more, and very much more focused than like Millicent's. Like
Yeah.
Business focused, so he probably he
Yeah.
caught that right away.
But he says it's not. If you're talking about the most expensive pot there, I've never procured it, nor I've any of the people I've ever traveled with that I know of, and not when I've been with them anyway. I think it's almost done as a tongue-in-cheek joke.
Perhaps a lure to bring in people to try the shop.
There are many people, and Mercy can't tell. He's kind of looking at her. There are many people with ideas and with money who want to try and do things that are different, the unknown, to make them feel alive. And he points at the sketch, like a 14-year-old scoping out her crypt, like that, like something, that's with the kind of money. So he says,
Understood.
and maybe that type of tea, that price on it, that just makes them feel like a special part of the club. Everyone wants to feel special. Haven't we all noticed? I mean, I do. I'm sure you so you do as well, Miss Clark. It's probably something that we all crave, is to feel unique, special, noticed. So yes, I can imagine that some people would risk that kind of money on a beverage that you're going to consume. But I myself, unfortunately, need to be a little bit more practical in my dealings.
It is very interesting that you hang out with such an erudite crowd when you find yourself to be
Good
so
word.
rooted, as it were, and pragmatic.
There is a sculpture. The stone itself is not cheap. The work is very, very labor intensive, and it requires a very steady hand. I admit to you, it would not seem like frivolity would be in my nature, but the people that can hire me are.
Ah, I see.
So to Jenny Wainwright, while a dear child, a dear young woman, very, very full of life, and funny. Jenny is really funny, and I do enjoy my time with her. But to be seen among her and among her people
Has its benefits. Absolutely. I understand.
So yeah, you're getting a totally different vibe. This is a guy who has a skill, and he's very good. Some people may look at his work that really know sculpting and be like, he's mundane. He's good. He doesn't break rock, but he's not gifted.
One of those dead end people in the search.
But he's unfortunately he is more straight.
He's not
Nope.
the golden goose we need.
No.
Well, at least I'm just getting a quote.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, quote, yeah.
Yeah, at this point, it's starting to feel like we need to try the tea ourselves. Talk to somebody.
Adelaide's like, I'm all for drinking some tea.
Get that tea.
Absolutely, she is.
Because unless we've got a brilliant plan to see Blake Reed again, or for the first time, yeah, Ginny's going to be another person we're going to have to get again.
Maybe Ginny can get us in and get us some.
She might, if we can butter her up real good, become new friends.
If it is at all possible, perhaps maybe one tries at a time so that I might find replacements in between the
I
passings.
can't afford the circus to lose its 5 main people in one
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Nothing, Cyrus, nothing will happen to me.
It'll just turn into like a 3-person freak show that just wanders through town.
At the minimum, it'll bring that brewmaster before us, right? So
Right.
that'll answer a whole lot of questions. So yeah,
Yes.
I guess let's go see if Jenny can't hook us up.
Okay. We'll try to do this. Yeah, you get to Jenny's place. She's obviously already starting to wake up. It's mid-afternoon by this point, probably like 3 or 4 o'clock. So she's just finishing breakfast. Being an opera singer, plus that she goes out late at night and tends to frequent other places. But she's there. She's awake, and when she sees you all, she's, oh, I had such a wonderful time last night. It was a great play. What? You are all gifted performers, I must tell you. You don't even have lines. I mean, the same way that we do in an opera. Like, I have to practice just a particular line and belt it and nail it. But it's so frantic and chaotic. It was fascinating.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed the performance.
And Mr. Boone, you were a captive. Oh my! You had me fully enthralled with the words that you spoke. You had my undivided attention.
I am so pleased that my simple words attracted such admiration. I myself must admit that I could sit for days on end without sleep listening to your arias. You are truly a gifted individual, madam.
Oh, God gifted me with big lungs. She kind of adjusts herself a little bit.
Indeed.
Big lungs.
Big lungs.
Large
Miss
tracts of
Wainwright.
land.
Right, I can't say her last name to save my life. Rain.
This is Wainwright.
Rain. Miss Jenny.
God damn it, Miss Jenny.
Miss
Fix
Jenny.
that name. WW doesn't work. Wainwright.
Wainwright.
It's so nice to meet you. We were visiting some of your friends. We visited Miss Shaw. She's going to do one of my posters for me. I'm so excited.
She's kind of a little spooked by you, Adelaide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's not going to notice. She's acting like nothing's wrong.
I'm sure she doesn't, but everybody else does. Like,
Well, and something kept coming up. We kept being recommended Pruny's Pinshaw's perfected pot. And we were just so curious about the dream state tea. It just kept coming up. And we were just wondering if there could be any way that we could have a cup together.
you want to share a cup of dream state with me?
Why
Well-
not?
Why not? And well,
Slimer's like, I
Sure.
just said one at a time. We said one at a time, and now you're trying to get everybody on the pot of tea.
Let's just chug it. Let's we're gonna
It's
take
Kool-Aid.
Let's do it.
Let's just end the show.
Yeah.
well, if too many cups is too expensive for us, we could always.
Well, no,
split.
the pot itself
The
is
pot
so
itself?
fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she says, well, I have to admit, I've only ever had it once.
Oh, what was it like?
Yes.
It was
Regale us.
It was a wonderful brew. Very flavorful. All kinds of notes from Ceylon and just an amazing tea. If I must be honest with you, I think there's other teas there at Pruny's that are just as good. But the mysterious brewer adds something, I guess. We had to do it when we got an appointment with her. It was late at night. It felt, if I must be honest with you, it felt almost like a seance, the way it was presented.
How very interesting.
But, I mean, your circus acts, I mean, I'm sure you can afford it. I mean, you must make a killing with what you do. I mean, it's just so fascinating.
Yeah.
I guess I could. Yeah, Kleiner, Snyder's like, yeah, I had debtors. They stole my horse.
Such a cost-driven business.
It's a hell of a business model, miss, traveling from town to town.
It is unfortunately the only business that sideshow freaks can do.
Right. But she says, but I mean, I could reach out to Pruny and see if she would be willing to make another one for us if she could reach the young woman that does the brewing.
So you yourself have imbibed of this aromatic, amazing tea.
Yeah, yeah, yes, once. Like I said, it
How-
was a gentleman decided he wanted to impress me, and
Oh,
took me there and purchased a pot for us. He and
Oh
myself.
my. Well,
oh
it's quite
my.
expensive. I wonder who this man could have been.
Did any of your
An
friends
admirer.
did your
Admire.
friends drink it with you as well, or was it a group setting?
It was more of a private evening.
Ah,
Just he and I and the woman who brewed the tea.
I've heard that it takes you to places and makes you see things. I'm sure, but I'm sure that's just color.
Takes you to places. Not that. We mean it was a
So to
a
you,
nice
it was just a
evening.
nice cup of tea.
It
I
was,
didn't believe, when I.
I believe she's speaking of hallucinogenics.
No, do I think Miss Pruny, an upstanding woman, is serving hallucinogenics in tea? No, I just thought it was a colorful description. Am I right?
I mean, it takes you away in the idea that the flavors are not consistent with most teas that I've had. It's earthy. It has a definite, like I said, it has the taste of some of the Ceylon blends. But it's an excellent pot of tea. But
Mm.
this gentleman friend and I mean, and she blushes a little bit. She says, but it was a very nice evening. But it was an expensive pot of tea.
So I don't want to shit on it too much because then it's like, so to her, this is just like, it's a bougie tea.
To
No,
her,
the tea was about the evening with the man.
Yeah. So to her and this gentleman guy,
uh-huh.
it was just a nice cup of tea.
Maybe.
Is she
Steiner,
drinking it at all?
Steiner's not going to ask this. 'Cause that would be really clear, but we need it. Who is this guy?
Yeah, that might be a little hard to get out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
now-
Adelaide tried a little bit like girl talk, but
Mhm.
we're not alone.
I can
Yeah.
totally see her doing that. Us women, we should.
Yeah. Wink.
The girl with no eyebrows just sidles up and
Yeah.
she's like, "Please get the cretin away from me."
Yeah.
That's that's why when she looked at her, she's like, here's a woman
Yeah.
who's just absolutely to the nines all the time. And she's like, hey, I'm a big fan. Are you? Like,
Mhm.
Mm.
Madam, I can genuinely say that the gentleman that you reference has so lucky to have had you on his arm, even if it were only for a short time. I can imagine that you must have many a suitor that were begging for your arm.
oh, begging. Yes, absolutely. He didn't have to beg too long. And then she looks at Mercy and kind of shuts her mouth.
Earmuffs?
Don't
was-
mind me. I'll busy myself over here.
With these blocks. I'll just play with blocks like a 14-year-old child. That's fine.
I don't know.
Yeah, her house is fabulous, but you can't say it.
Yeah.
But yes, so she
I'll just
being a 24-year-old or 25-year-old opera singer, a gentleman who took her out,
Mhm.
could be married. Probably not going to be. I mean, again,
Right. Especially if
Heart-
he's rich.
right.
Right.
So probably not something she's going to divulge easily, but in time, or with an incredible role, we can you might be able to weasel it out of her.
Right, the tea's more important, so let's talk her into a date.
Okay. So yeah, let's give me whoever's got your best manipulation. Go ahead and hit it. We'll take one roll for it. See what we get.
I've got 6.
I only have-
6.
I only have 5.
Well, why don't we let Adelaide roll?
Okay,
Come on, Adelaide.
because I've got great track
We'll
record.
scare her into it.
Yes, I've got 2 successes.
That's enough. She says, "I'll reach out to Pruny and find out exactly what we can do to get you a date with our brewer, and she'll make us see if we can get us a pot of tea. I'll tell her it's for me, and then when we walk in, it'll just be a surprise." She even comes up with a way of getting you in without arguing about it. Like, since I've already had it once, shouldn't be an issue, and I'll be more than well. It'd be so much fun.
Mhm.
You are too very kind.
Who's paying for the tea? Did you suggest that she would? Because that's with 2 successes, I'll even say that she might even offer to pay for it.
I didn't say.
That's your cheapness.
Yeah, we didn't say.
A poor gentleman never suggests.
Right. I am just a circus performer, madam. I'm lucky if I can have a regular English black tea. I'm not.
There is a specific reason that Adelaide is with us. I shall sell her into slavery for the cost of the tea.
Oh, no.
I'm sure working that pot off
I'm
tea off
lucky
for
if I
6
can afford
months
a
in the back.
Yorkshire.
There are many poorhouses and factories from which she could earn her keep.
Wow. With just a few days of hard work, I'm sure we'll be able to pay off that pot.
It's all right, dear. Just watch for the bobbins running back and forth.
All right, so that's where we'll stop for tonight. I want to thank my players as always. That's like I said. Don't forget next week it's going to be more about Yesenia. We're going to catch her up with the story of it in her way, what she's been going through while she's been away for these last 2 shows. But as always, we're the Bardic College. I want to thank everybody for playing tonight, and thank you for listening. We love you guys. Check out our Patreon. All the information's down here. There's the cast members' names. Think of love. Send a message if you want. Let us know what you think of the show so far. Like, share, subscribe, hit all the buttons, do all the things you got to do. And as always, we will see you next time. And don't forget, we are also part of a Sleepy Buddy Productions. We'll see you next time, everybody. Good night.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.